Welcome to Sleep Lore. Here, curiosity finds comfort, science takes a gentle path, and profound questions become cozy stories to lull you to sleep. Tonight, we delve into the heart of how we think, how we believe, and how we see the world. Have you ever wondered, why do we trust tomorrow will mirror today? Why do you think you truly understand the world when reality might just be an illusion? From comforting beliefs about knowledge to unsettling doubts about reality, from the bittersweet touch of nostalgia to the courage to simply be yourself. In this video, we'll embark on a quiet journey, exploring 8 profound philosophical theories that have shaped and continue to reshape how humanity perceives the world, ourselves, and our place in existence. Before we begin, where are you listening from tonight? And what aspect of understanding fascinates you most? Its predictable patterns or its surprising mysteries? If this journey soothes your mind or sparks your curiosity, I'd be grateful for a like. And if you wish to continue exploring with us, please consider subscribing and sharing this peaceful space. Now settle in, slow your thoughts, and let's begin. Because somewhere between what we believe and what is, lies the extraordinary journey of true understanding. As the world outside gently settles into its nocturnal rhythm, let us turn our attention to a concept that challenges our very understanding of predictability, of certainty, and of the comfortable stories we tell ourselves about how the world works. We're going to gently explore the black swan theory, a powerful idea that reminds us how a single, unexpected event can quietly, yet profoundly, shatter all our previously held beliefs, turning our neatly organized world upside down. Imagine, if you will, a farmer who has diligently, lovingly cared for his prized chicken. Day after day, for 1,000 consecutive days, this chicken has woken up to the comforting routine of the farm. Every morning, the farmer comes, not to harm, but to feed it, to scatter grain, to provide water, to ensure its well-being. The chicken, in its simple, unthinking way, gathers evidence from every single sunrise. It observes, it learns, it internalizes. For 1,000 mornings, the farmer has been a benevolent provider, a source of sustenance and safety. The chicken's entire existence, its very understanding of the world, is built upon this unwavering pattern. It has, in essence, formed a deeply held belief, an almost perfect scientific theory based on 1,000 data points. The farmer is good, the farmer brings food, life is safe and predictable. Each new sunrise, each new meal only serves to reinforce this conviction, making its belief stronger, more absolute, more unshakable. The evidence is overwhelming, consistent, and seemingly irrefutable. But then, as the sun gently rises on the 1,001st day, something utterly unexpected, something outside the chicken's entire experience, occurs. The farmer arrives, not with a bucket of grain, but with an axe. And that day, on the 1,001st morning, the chicken is killed. This chilling, yet simple, story, told by the thinker Nassim Nicholas Taleb, is the quiet heart of the black swan theory. It illustrates, with profound clarity, how a single, unforeseen event, something that was considered utterly impossible or at least extremely improbable based on all prior evidence, can completely overturn every assumption, every belief, every meticulously built model that came before it. For the chicken, the truth of its world, so solid and logical, was instantly, brutally shattered by one unpredicted moment. This event, the arrival of the axe, is the black swan. Now, why is it called a black swan? For centuries in the Western world, people firmly believed that all swans were white. Every single swan ever observed, documented, or depicted was, without exception, white. This belief was based on vast amounts of empirical evidence, countless observations across many lands. It was a well-established, seemingly unshakable truth. But then, in the late 17th century, European explorers discovered black swans in Australia. The sighting of just one black swan was enough to completely invalidate the centuries-old belief that all swans are white. It showed that one single observation, if it lies outside our expected patterns, can completely redefine our understanding of reality. So, a black swan event has 3 key characteristics that make it so powerful and so difficult to manage. First, it is an outlier. It lies outside the realm of regular expectations, meaning that nothing in the past has convincingly pointed to its possibility. Our existing knowledge, our comfortable models of how the world operates, simply do not account for it. It comes as a genuine, shattering surprise. For the chicken, A farmer with an axe was entirely beyond its understanding of its world. For Europeans, a black swan was beyond their experience. Second, despite its outlier nature, a black swan event carries an extreme impact. Its consequences are enormous, often overwhelming. The event fundamentally changes the landscape, reshapes industries, transforms societies, or profoundly alters individual lives. For the chicken, the impact was, quite literally, life-ending. For the scientific community, the discovery of black swans fundamentally altered ornithology and the philosophy of knowledge itself. And third, despite its unpredictability, after the event occurs, people tend to invent explanations for its occurrence, making it seem explainable and predictable in hindsight. This is a natural human tendency. We dislike uncertainty, and our minds crave order and narratives. So, after a black swan event, we look back, connect the dots, and construct stories that make it seem as though we should have seen it coming. Oh, the signs were there. If only we had looked, we might say. It was inevitable, really. This retrospective predictability, however, is an illusion. It serves to comfort us, to make the world seem less random, but it often hinders our ability to prepare for truly novel future events. We become too focused on explaining the past, rather than truly embracing the unpredictability of what might come next. Why is understanding black swans so crucial in our modern world? Taleb argues that modern society lives increasingly in what he calls extremistan. In extremistan, inequalities are extreme, and a very small number of events or observations can have an overwhelmingly large impact. Think about the world of finance, where a single unexpected market crash can wipe out trillions of dollars. Or the world of technology, where a single invention can completely transform an entire industry and reshape daily life for billions of people. Even in daily life, a single unexpected illness, a sudden accident, or a chance meeting can profoundly alter the course of an entire life. This is in contrast to mediocristan, a world where averages matter more and extreme events are rare and have limited impact. In mediocristan, things like height or weight generally cluster around an average, and an unusually tall person doesn't change the overall distribution much. But in extremistan, things like wealth, fame, or the impact of a single book or viral video don't follow a neat bell curve. They are often dominated by a few extreme outliers. Our modern, interconnected world, with its rapid global travel, instant information flow, and complex financial systems, is more prone to these extreme, unpredictable events than ever before. A local disturbance can quickly ripple across the globe, creating unforeseen consequences. The comfortable stories we tell ourselves, often based on averages and past trends, prepare us for the expected. But black swans are, by definition, the unexpected. They are the moments when our neat models fail, when our assumptions crumble, when the world acts in a way we simply hadn't considered. Our reliance on statistical averages and historical data, while useful for predicting routine events, can blind us to the truly transformative, disruptive occurrences. We are constantly trying to predict the future based on the past, but black swans remind us that the truly impactful future might look nothing like the past. So, what can we do in the face of such profound unpredictability? Taleb suggests that rather than trying to predict black swans, which is impossible by their very nature, we should instead focus on building resilience. This means designing systems, societies, and even personal lives that can withstand unexpected shocks. It means being anti-fragile, a concept where instead of merely recovering from shocks, we actually benefit from disorder and volatility. Think of a system that learns and grows stronger when exposed to unexpected stress, rather than breaking. This translates to several gentle shifts in our approach to life. It means avoiding fragility. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, whether it's your finances, your beliefs, or your plans. Diversify, remain flexible, and leave room for the unexpected. It means embracing optionality, creating situations where you have many small opportunities, some of which might lead to unexpected breakthroughs, while minimizing your exposure to major, catastrophic risks. It's about being open to serendipity, to chance encounters, to the quiet whispers of possibilities that aren't on your pre-planned map. It also encourages a certain epistemological humility. This means gently acknowledging the limits of our knowledge, understanding that we don't know everything, and that the universe is capable of surprising us in profound ways. It's about being less arrogant about our predictions and more open to the possibility that our current understanding might be incomplete. The more we think we know, the more rigid our models become, and the more vulnerable we are to the unexpected. True wisdom might lie in recognizing the vastness of what we don't know. Consider the implications for how we live our lives. We often plan meticulously, create detailed schedules, and strive for perfect control. While planning is valuable, the Black Swan theory reminds us to also cultivate adaptability, improvisation, and an inner resilience that can bend without breaking. It encourages us to find peace in the inherent uncertainty of existence, to view the unexpected not always as a disaster, but sometimes as an opportunity for profound change, for new directions, for discoveries we couldn't have imagined. The quiet lesson of the Black Swan is that life is not always a smooth, predictable journey. It is punctuated by moments of profound surprise, moments that can redefine everything we thought we knew. These events, while often disruptive, are also the engines of true transformation and progress. They are the moments when old paradigms crumble, making way for new understandings, new innovations, and new ways of being. So, as the night deepens and your thoughts gently drift, consider the comforting stories you tell yourself, the expectations you hold about tomorrow. The Black Swan theory isn't about fostering fear, but about cultivating a deeper, more realistic wisdom about the nature of reality. It's about recognizing the vastness of the unknown, about building a quiet inner strength that can meet the unexpected with grace, and about remaining open to the profound surprises that the universe, in its boundless mystery, might yet hold for us. It's a quiet invitation to live with a deeper awareness of the subtle, powerful forces that truly shape our world, far beyond the neat predictions of our comfortable daily routines. It's about being prepared, not for a specific surprise, but for surprise itself. Having just pondered how the universe can surprise us with unforeseen events, let us now turn our minds to an even grander, more ambitious quest: humanity's deep yearning to understand the universe, not as a collection of separate pieces, but as one harmonious, unified whole. We're going to gently explore the dream of a unified theory of the universe, often called the theory of everything, a single, elegant framework that could explain all the forces and particles that make up reality. Imagine, if you will, the world as a vast, intricate symphony. You hear the deep rumble of the cello, the soaring melody of the violin, the rhythmic beat of the drums, and the delicate dance of the flute. Each instrument plays its part, following its own distinct rules. For centuries, scientists have been diligently studying these individual instruments, understanding how each one works. But the dream of the theory of everything is to find the single underlying musical score, the grand composition, that explains why all these instruments play together in such perfect, complex harmony. It's the quest for the maestro's ultimate secret. For a very long time, physicists have been remarkably successful at describing different parts of this cosmic symphony. They've discovered elegant equations that explain why apples fall from trees, how planets orbit the sun, and why electricity flows through wires. But as they looked closer, into the very heart of matter and energy, they began to find two profoundly different sets of musical notes, played by two seemingly incompatible sections of the orchestra. On one side, we have the majestic, large-scale dance of the universe, governed by Albert Einstein's theory of general relativity. Imagine a vast, invisible trampoline stretched taut across the cosmos. Heavy objects like stars and galaxies gently press down on this trampoline, causing it to curve and warp. What we feel as gravity is simply the natural tendency of other objects to roll along these curves in the fabric of space-time. This theory works beautifully to explain the orbit of planets, the bending of starlight around massive objects, and the swirling dance of galaxies. It describes the universe in its grand, sweeping movements, where everything is smooth, continuous, and predictable, like the slow, powerful movements of a giant cosmic ballet. But then, as scientists peered into the incredibly tiny, bustling world of atoms and subatomic particles, they found a completely different set of rules at play. This is the realm of quantum mechanics, a theory so strange and counterintuitive that it often challenges our everyday understanding of reality. In this microscopic world, particles don't have neat, definite positions. They exist as fuzzy probability waves. They can be in many places at once, mysteriously entangled with other particles across vast distances, and their behavior seems to be governed by chance and uncertainty. It's like a cosmic jazz improvisation, where notes appear and disappear unexpectedly, and a single melody can be playing in multiple places simultaneously. Quantum mechanics perfectly explains how light interacts with atoms, how transistors work in our computers, and how the sun generates its energy. It describes the universe in its tiniest, most vibrant, and often unpredictable details. The profound challenge, the central dream of the theory of everything, is that these two incredibly successful theories, general relativity, which describes the very large, and quantum mechanics, which describes the very small, simply do not get along. When you try to apply the smooth, continuous rules of gravity to the jittery, uncertain world of quantum particles, the equations break down. They give nonsensical answers, like infinities. It's like trying to make a grand symphony and a wild jazz performance use the exact same musical score, written in incompatible languages. They are both brilliantly accurate in their own domains, but they fundamentally disagree on how gravity should behave at the quantum level, at the very heart of black holes, or at the universe's incredibly tiny, dense beginning. This is where the brilliant minds of physicists like Stephen Hawking entered the scene, captivated by the paradoxes that arise when quantum mechanics meets gravity. One of Hawking's most famous discoveries, Hawking radiation, is a beautiful example of this very tension. Imagine a black hole, that cosmic vacuum cleaner, with its immense gravity so strong that nothing, not even light, can escape once it crosses a certain boundary. According to Einstein's general relativity, nothing should ever come out of a black hole. But Hawking, by applying the rules of quantum mechanics to the edge of a black hole, realized something astonishing. Tiny quantum fluctuations, the jittery dance of particles constantly popping in and out of existence, could cause black holes to slowly, ever so slowly, evaporate. Particles could escape. This was a truly revolutionary idea, a moment where the very small quantum met the very large, gravity, and revealed a hidden, unexpected truth. It showed that quantum mechanics and gravity are deeply intertwined, even if we don't yet have the complete picture of how they work together. The quest for the theory of everything, for that single unifying musical score, has led physicists down many fascinating paths. One of the most prominent contenders is string theory. Imagine, instead of fundamental particles being tiny, dimensionless points, they are actually incredibly tiny, vibrating strings. These strings are so small that we can't even see them with our most powerful microscopes. They would be like comparing an atom to the entire solar system. Just as different vibrations on a violin string create different musical notes, different vibration patterns of these fundamental cosmic strings would give rise to all the different particles we observe: electrons, quarks, and even the mysterious particle that carries the force of gravity, called the graviton. The beautiful promise of string theory is that if you can find the right way for these strings to vibrate in a universe with extra, tiny, curled-up dimensions, then all the forces of nature, gravity, electromagnetism, and the two nuclear forces that hold atoms together, might emerge naturally from one single, elegant set of rules. It would be one grand, universal harmony, all flowing from the vibrations of these tiny strings. Another intriguing idea is loop quantum gravity, which takes a different approach to unifying gravity with quantum mechanics. Instead of strings, it suggests that space and time themselves are not smooth and continuous, but are made up of tiny, discrete loops or atoms of space. It's like zooming in on a fabric until you see the individual threads rather than a smooth cloth. This theory aims to quantize gravity directly, to describe space and time as granular, made of tiny, fundamental chunks, just as energy comes in discrete packets, quanta. This could potentially resolve the conflict where Einstein's smooth spacetime meets the jittery quantum world. The hope of finding a theory of everything is immense. If we could discover this single elegant formula, it would not only explain how the universe works from its very first moment to its distant future, but it might also answer some of the deepest philosophical questions. Why are the laws of nature as they are? Why is there something rather than nothing? It promises to be the ultimate triumph of human reason, a moment where we truly understand the grand cosmic symphony in its entirety. It's the dream of a single, concise equation that could fit on a t-shirt, yet contain the secrets of everything. However, the path to a theory of everything is filled with quiet challenges. These theories, like string theory, often require the existence of extra dimensions beyond the three we perceive, curled up so tightly that we cannot see them. They also often involve energies so immense, or scales so tiny, that our current experiments cannot directly test them. It's like trying to prove a grand theory of the ocean by only observing a single drop of water on a beach. The work involves complex mathematics, deep intuition, and a great deal of patient, speculative thought. We are still in the early stages of this profound quest, and the universe holds its secrets close. Moreover, even if we found a single formula, a unified theory, some thinkers wonder if it would truly be a theory of everything. Would it explain consciousness? Would it explain why we feel love or experience beauty? Would it tell us the meaning of life? The theory of everything primarily aims to unify the fundamental forces in particles to explain the physical workings of the universe. The vast complexities of life, mind, and meaning might emerge from these fundamental rules, but they might not be directly contained within the elegant simplicity of the grand formula itself. It's like knowing all the notes and all the rules of harmony. That doesn't automatically tell you the profound emotion of a masterpiece, or the story the composer intended to tell. So, as the night deepens and your thoughts gently drift, consider the extraordinary ambition of this quest. The dream of a theory of everything is a testament to humanity's tireless curiosity, its deep yearning for unity, and its unwavering belief that the universe, despite its vastness and complexity, is fundamentally knowable, fundamentally logical, and fundamentally beautiful. It's a quiet invitation to imagine a world where all the pieces fit, where all the instruments play in perfect harmony, orchestrated by a single, elegant, cosmic score. And even if we never fully grasp it, the very act of seeking this ultimate understanding enriches our minds and deepens our appreciation for the astonishing symphony that is our universe. Having just explored the grand cosmic ambition of unifying all the universe's forces, let us now turn our minds inward to a question that seems at first much smaller, yet is arguably the most fundamental of all, the very source of our awareness, of our knowing that we exist. We're going to gently delve into the famous phrase, "I think, therefore I am." A profound whisper from the heart of philosophical thought that probes the wellspring of consciousness itself. Imagine, if you will, a thinker sitting alone in a quiet room, perhaps by the soft glow of a flickering candle. This thinker, the philosopher René Descartes, was filled with a deep and unsettling doubt. He looked at everything he thought he knew about the world, and he began to question it all. Could his senses be deceiving him? What if everything he saw, heard, and touched was just an elaborate dream? What if there was a mischievous demon, a powerful deceiver who was tricking him, making him believe in a world that wasn't real, feeding him false thoughts and illusions? He systematically doubted everything, his body, the objects around him, the very existence of the outside world, even the most basic truths of mathematics. He stripped away layer after layer of what he took for granted, seeking something, anything, that could not be doubted. But then, in the midst of this vast sea of uncertainty, a quiet, undeniable truth emerged. Even if he were being thoroughly deceived, even if every single thought and perception were an elaborate trick, there had to be something that was being deceived, something that was doing the thinking, something that was experiencing the doubt itself. He might doubt that he had a body, or that the world existed, but he could not possibly doubt that he was doubting, or that he was thinking. And if he was thinking, then he must undeniably exist. This led him to his famous revolutionary conclusion, cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. This was the bedrock, the unshakable foundation upon which he believed all other knowledge could be built. It was the first certainty, the ultimate truth he found amidst universal doubt. This simple phrase is incredibly powerful. It suggests that the very act of thinking, of being conscious, is irrefutable proof of one's own existence. It makes the individual's mind the starting point of all knowledge. Before you can know anything about the world, you must first know that you exist as a thinking entity. It firmly places the self, the conscious I, at the center of the universe of knowledge. This idea profoundly influenced Western philosophy for centuries, shifting the focus from external authority or sensory experience to the inner workings of the mind. It seemed to give us a solid anchor in a world that could otherwise feel utterly bewildering. But as with all profound insights, time and further reflection bring new questions, subtle nuances that challenge even this seemingly unshakable foundation. Descartes found certainty in the act of thinking, but later philosophers and even modern scientists began to gently probe deeper into that very act. The first quiet whisper of doubt asks, is it truly I who is thinking, or is there simply thinking happening? Consider the process of thought itself. When you close your eyes and observe your mind, thoughts often seem to simply arise, float by, and then gently dissipate. It's almost as if thinking is something the brain does, rather than something an independent I actively performs. Is the I the creator of the thoughts, or is the I merely the witness, the quiet observer of a process that unfolds within the mind? Some Eastern philosophies, particularly Buddhism, emphasize this distinction, suggesting that clinging to a fixed, unchanging I as the thinker can be a source of suffering. They often speak of consciousness arising or thoughts occurring, rather than a persistent, separate self doing the thinking. This subtly shifts the focus from a solid, distinct I to a more fluid, interconnected process of awareness. Then there's the question of what thinking truly means. If a complex computer program can perform calculations, process information, and even generate text that seems thoughtful, is it thinking in the same way a human does? Does a sophisticated artificial intelligence, when it processes information, therefore exist in the same conscious way? This pushes us to define what is truly unique about human consciousness, about that rich subjective experience of being. Is it merely about processing information, or is there something more? A feeling, a qualitative experience, a sense of self-awareness that Descartes' thinking implied, but which we still struggle to define even in our most advanced scientific terms. This opens a quiet doorway into the hard problem of consciousness that we touched upon earlier. Furthermore, consider how fragile our knowledge can truly be, even when built upon seemingly firm ground. Descartes sought an absolute certainty, a foundation free from all doubt. But what if the very act of thinking itself is somehow dependent on processes we don't fully understand? What if our consciousness, our ability to reason, can be altered, distorted, or even temporarily suspended by physical changes in the brain, by illness, injury, or even just deep sleep? If I think, therefore I am, is the bedrock, and thinking can be so easily affected by physical states, does that make the I more fragile than we initially imagined? It suggests that the connection between our physical body and our conscious mind, while mysterious, is undeniably intimate. This leads us to the contemporary discussions about how brain chemistry and structure influence our very thoughts and sense of self. Modern neuroscience, with its scans and studies, shows us that specific areas of the brain light up when we feel certain emotions, or when we engage in particular types of thought. Changes in brain chemistry can alter our mood, our personality, and even our perception of reality. This raises a quiet, profound question. If our thoughts, our very sense of I, are so deeply tied to the physical workings of our brain, then what exactly is that independent I that Descartes found to be so certain? Is it merely a beautiful, emergent phenomenon of complex neural activity, rather than a separate, unchanging entity? This doesn't necessarily diminish our existence, but it redefines its nature, embedding it more deeply within the physical universe. And what about those moments when we don't seem to be thinking consciously? During deep, dreamless sleep, or in states of profound meditation, or even when we are completely absorbed in an activity, like a flow state for an athlete or artist, the usual stream of conscious thought seems to quiet or even disappear. Do we cease to exist in those moments? Descartes' argument seems to rely on an active, ongoing process of thinking. But perhaps being is something more fundamental, something that continues even when active thought subsides. This suggests that consciousness might be deeper than just the noisy chatter of our minds, perhaps a silent awareness that underlies all thought, a wellspring that is always present, even when we are not actively drawing from it. The journey initiated by "I think, therefore I am" has continued through centuries of philosophical inquiry. It led to questions about dualism, the idea that mind and body are separate, versus monism, the idea that they are fundamentally one substance, either all mind or all matter. It spurred investigations into the nature of knowledge itself. If we can only be certain of our own thoughts, how can we truly know anything about an external world? The very act of doubting, which was Descartes' starting point, ultimately became a powerful tool for scientific and philosophical exploration, pushing us to question everything and to seek deeper understanding. So, as the night deepens and your thoughts gently drift, consider the profound simplicity and the enduring complexity of "I think, therefore I am." It remains a powerful testament to the undeniable reality of our own conscious experience, a quiet anchor in a world that can often feel uncertain. But it also invites us to ponder the layers of what "I" truly means, what thinking truly entails, and how our conscious existence is both uniquely personal and mysteriously connected to the vast, unfolding universe. It's a whisper from within that reminds us of the extraordinary miracle of simply being aware. Having just explored the profound inner certainty of our own existence through thought, let us now gently turn our minds to another deeply important, often humbling aspect of knowledge: its inherent limits. We're going to quietly delve into the limits of knowledge, pondering those moments when even our most powerful tool for understanding the world, science, reaches its gentle boundary, particularly when it comes to answering the deepest question of all: why? Imagine, if you will, a child filled with an insatiable curiosity, constantly asking why about everything around them. Why is the sky blue? Why do birds sing? Why does the sun rise? As they grow, they learn that science, with its patient observations, its clever experiments, and its precise calculations, is incredibly good at answering what and how. It can tell us what the sky is made of, how light scatters to make it appear blue. It can describe how a bird's vocal cords produce sound and what signals its brain sends to make it sing. It can meticulously detail how the Earth spins on its axis and orbits the sun, leading to the phenomenon of sunrise. Science is a brilliant instrument for dissecting reality, for mapping its intricate workings, and for uncovering the mechanisms that drive the universe. It excels at building models that predict what will happen and describe how things happen. But then, the child, growing into an adult, might ask, but why is there a sky at all? Why are birds here to sing? Why does the universe exist in such a way that the sun rises? And here, science often falls silent. It can tell us about the Big Bang, about the expansion of space, about the fundamental forces and particles. But it cannot, with its current tools and methods, tell us why the Big Bang happened in the first place, or why the universe chose to unfold in this particular way, or why there is something rather than nothing. These why questions often stretch beyond the observable, the measurable, the repeatable. They gently nudge us into the realms of philosophy, spirituality, or even personal meaning. Consider a famous example from the world of science, a moment when the very certainty of scientific measurement was brought into question. A few years ago, headlines buzzed with a truly astonishing claim. A group of scientists reported that tiny particles called neutrinos seemed to have traveled faster than the speed of light. This was a monumental finding, as the speed of light is considered a fundamental cosmic speed limit, a cornerstone of Einstein's theory of relativity. If true, it would have shattered a foundational pillar of modern physics, rewriting textbooks and our understanding of spacetime. The experiment was meticulously conducted, the data carefully analyzed, and the probability of error was calculated to be incredibly small, perhaps even 99.9999% accurate. It was a testament to scientific rigor. Yet, despite this incredibly high level of confidence, the scientific community reacted not with immediate acceptance, but with deep skepticism and a call for independent verification. Why? Because the claim contradicted such a fundamental, well-established understanding of how the universe works. Other scientists across the globe rushed to replicate the experiment to find the hidden flaw. And eventually, after much painstaking work, they did. It turned out to be a subtle yet significant technical error, a loose fiber optic cable, a tiny malfunction in the timing system. The neutrinos were not, in fact, exceeding the speed of light. This incident, far from undermining science, beautifully illustrates its inherent strength and its quiet humility. Science also has its uncertainties. Even with the most precise instruments and the most brilliant minds, errors can occur. The scientific process is not about finding absolute, unchangeable truth handed down from above. It is a continuous, self-correcting journey of inquiry, a constant process of observing, hypothesizing, testing, refining, and sometimes letting go of even cherished ideas when new evidence emerges. It embraces doubt as a tool for progress. The very strength of science lies in its willingness to question its own findings, to acknowledge its limitations, and to constantly seek refinement. It understands that knowledge is not a rigid fortress, but a living, growing, always evolving landscape. This inherent uncertainty in science often applies most strongly when we push its boundaries to the very edge of existence, or when we probe the fundamental nature of reality itself. For instance, science can describe the incredibly precise fine-tuning of the universe, how the fundamental constants, like the strength of gravity or the mass of an electron, seem perfectly set for stars, planets, and life to emerge. If they were even slightly different, the universe as we know it would not exist. Science can describe what those numbers are and how they allow life to form. But it cannot, from its own empirical methods, tell us why those numbers are exactly as they are. Is it just a cosmic coincidence? Is it because we live in a vast multiverse where all possibilities exist and we simply happen to be in the universe where life is possible? Or does it hint at a deeper purpose, an intention that lies beyond scientific measurement? These are questions that science, by its very nature, might never fully answer. Another profound example lies in the mystery of consciousness. As we discussed earlier, neuroscience can brilliantly map the brain, showing which regions light up during certain thoughts or emotions, identifying the neural correlates of experience. We can understand what parts of the brain are active when you feel joy and how neurons communicate. But science, for all its prowess, still cannot tell us why these physical processes create the subjective experience of feeling joy. Why does it feel like something to be conscious? Why aren't we just complex robots processing information without any inner experience? This gap, often called the hard problem of consciousness, remains a profound frontier where scientific methods reach their current limits. We can describe the how and the what, but the why of subjective experience remains elusive. This realization of scientific limits is not meant to diminish science's incredible power or its immense contributions to human understanding. Far from it. It's an invitation to appreciate science for what it does best, unraveling the mechanisms of the physical world, empowering us with incredible technologies, and curing diseases. But it also gently reminds us that science is not the only path to knowledge, nor is it designed to answer every question that the human heart or mind might pose. The questions that begin with why. Why are we here? Why does meaning exist? Why do we feel beauty? Often transcend the empirical realm. They lead us into the domain of philosophy, where logic and intuition guide our exploration. They lead us into spirituality, where faith and inner experience offer comfort and perspective. They lead us into the arts, where creativity expresses the ineffable. These are complementary ways of knowing, each offering a unique lens through which to view the vast, multi-layered tapestry of existence. Embracing the limits of knowledge, then, is a profound act of humility and wisdom. It means gently acknowledging that the universe is far richer and more mysterious than any single discipline can fully capture. It means being comfortable with uncertainty, with the unknown, and even with paradox. It means understanding that the pursuit of knowledge is not about filling every single blank space, but about appreciating the beauty of the vastness that remains, the endless opportunities for wonder. So, as the night deepens and your thoughts gently drift, consider the subtle dance between what science can tell us and what it cannot. The limits of knowledge are not a wall preventing further understanding, but a quiet horizon, inviting us to broaden our minds, to explore different ways of knowing, and to cultivate a deeper appreciation for the mysteries that remain. It's a gentle reminder that the universe and our place within it is far more wondrous and profound than any single explanation could ever fully capture. And in that vast space of why, we find endless room for contemplation, for awe, and for our own personal journey towards meaning. Having just contemplated the humbling limits of our current knowledge, recognizing that science, for all its brilliance, cannot answer every why, let us now gently turn our minds to an even more expansive and wonderfully speculative idea: the possibility of a multiverse. This is the notion that our familiar universe, with its billions of galaxies and its well-understood laws of physics, might not be the only one. Instead, it could be just one bubble, one delicate blossom in an immense, perhaps infinite, cosmic garden of many universes. And if so, might these other universes operate under entirely different rules, with different ways of being? Imagine, if you will, being a tiny fish swimming in a vast ocean. Your entire existence is defined by the water, its currents, its depths, the creatures that inhabit it. You know nothing beyond this ocean, no concept of land, air, or sunlight directly. Your understanding of reality is limited to your watery world. The idea of a multiverse is somewhat similar. Our universe is our ocean, and we, like the fish, are deeply immersed in its specific laws and dimensions. But perhaps, just perhaps, there are other oceans, other realities, each with its own unique water, its own unique set of physical rules and dimensions, entirely separate from our own. The concept of a multiverse arises from various corners of modern physics, often when our current theories push against their own boundaries, seeking elegant solutions to profound puzzles. One such corner is cosmic inflation, a theory that describes a very rapid exponential expansion of the universe immediately after the Big Bang. If inflation happens, it suggests it might not stop everywhere at once. Instead, it could continue indefinitely in vast regions, spawning countless bubble universes as it goes. Our universe would simply be one of these bubbles, floating in an ever-expanding larger multiverse foam. Each bubble could have started with slightly different conditions, leading to different fundamental laws or different collections of particles. Another path to the multiverse comes from string theory, which we touched upon earlier in our exploration of a theory of everything. If reality is fundamentally made of tiny, vibrating strings, and if there are extra dimensions beyond our familiar three spatial ones, then string theory suggests that these dimensions could be curled up in a multitude of different ways. Each way of curling up those extra dimensions would lead to a different set of physical laws, different types of particles, and different fundamental constants. This means that within a vast landscape of possibilities, there could be an enormous number of universes, each with its own unique flavor of physics. In this landscape multiverse, our universe is simply one unique combination out of countless possibilities, one particular set of rules that allowed stars, galaxies, and perhaps even consciousness to emerge. Now, let's consider the profound implications if such a multiverse truly exists. It raises a fascinating question. What if an artificial intelligence, AI, were to discover physics that humans simply haven't grasped? A physics that operates under an entirely different set of rules from our own? Imagine an AI, vastly superior in its processing power and its ability to discern patterns, sifting through cosmic data, perhaps from distant corners of our universe, or even from hints of other realities. What if it suddenly presented us with a grand unified theory that incorporates principles entirely alien to our current understanding? A theory that speaks of particles we've never detected, forces we've never conceived, or dimensions that exist in ways our minds cannot yet intuitively picture. Our current physics is built on our human experience and observation. But an AI might operate without these biological and perceptual limitations, perceiving patterns and connections that remain invisible to us. It could be like trying to teach a deep-sea creature about the concept of fire. It simply has no frame of reference. An AI, free from our human biases and sensory filters, might unlock secrets of reality that reveal a physics far grander, far stranger than anything we've imagined. This thought leads us to an even more speculative, yet equally compelling question. What if extraterrestrial beings, intelligent life from another part of the cosmos, used mathematics and physics that were completely different from our own? Our understanding of the universe is based on our human minds, our human logic, and our human methods of observation. But if life has evolved in radically different environments under different cosmic conditions, perhaps their way of perceiving and describing reality would be fundamentally distinct. Their mathematics might operate on different axioms. Their physics might focus on different fundamental aspects of existence, leading to entirely alien ways of understanding cause and effect, space and time. Imagine trying to communicate complex scientific ideas with a being whose very perception of reality is organized around principles we don't even have words for. This would not only suggest the possibility of different physical laws, but also different ways of knowing those laws. It would humbly remind us that our human-centric view of physics, while effective in our universe, might not be the only or even the ultimate way to comprehend the cosmos. And this vastness of potential universes and different ways of knowing brings us back to a profound philosophical question. Does objective reality truly exist, or is reality, in some fundamental way, a product of collective consciousness? If there are countless universes, each with potentially different laws, then perhaps what we perceive as objective reality in our universe is simply the agreed upon, or collectively perceived, set of rules and experiences that apply here. In quantum mechanics, some interpretations suggest that observation plays a crucial role in collapsing possibilities into a definite reality. If extended to a cosmic scale, could our collective consciousness, or the consciousness of beings within a universe, somehow contribute to the reality that universe exhibits? This idea, explored by philosophers and some theoretical physicists, suggests that the universe is not just out there, separate from us, but is intimately interwoven with the very act of awareness itself. If consciousness is fundamental, then different universes might manifest different realities because the consciousness perceiving or inhabiting them is structured differently. This consciousness multiverse perspective is deeply profound. It challenges the traditional view of a universe that simply exists independently of any observers. Instead, it proposes that reality is an ongoing, dynamic interaction between the fundamental fabric of existence and the very act of conscious perception. This doesn't mean that if we stop thinking, the universe disappears. Rather, it suggests that the qualities of reality, the specific laws that govern it, might be tied to the presence of consciousness, either universal or collective. The implications of the multiverse, in any of its forms, are truly mind-boggling. It offers potential answers to the fine-tuning problem: why our universe seems perfectly set for life. If there are countless universes, it's not a miracle that one exists where life is possible. It's simply a statistical inevitability. We just happen to live in that particular universe. It also opens up possibilities for understanding dark matter and dark energy, mysterious components of our universe that don't interact with light, by suggesting they might be spillover from other universes that are very close to ours. However, it's crucial to gently remind ourselves that the multiverse is still a deeply speculative concept. We have no direct observational evidence of other universes. They lie beyond our current ability to detect, observe, or experiment upon. The ideas of cosmic inflation, string theory, and quantum mechanics offer mathematical frameworks that allow for a multiverse, or even suggest it, but they don't prove it. We are still in the realm of grand hypotheses, whispered possibilities that stretch the very boundaries of our scientific imagination. The challenge is to find ways to test these ideas, to find some subtle fingerprint of another universe that might leave a mark on our own. So, as the night deepens and your thoughts gently drift, consider the boundless possibilities of the multiverse. It's a quiet invitation to expand your understanding of reality beyond what you see and touch every day. It reminds us that our universe, vast as it is, might be just one tiny, exquisite jewel in an unimaginably grander cosmic tapestry. And if that's true, then our own existence, our unique set of experiences, and our specific understanding of physics becomes even more precious and unique. It's a humbling thought, yet one that fills the mind with an endless sense of wonder and awe for the infinite creativity of existence itself. gently inviting us to imagine a reality far richer and more diverse than we could ever have dreamed. Having just stretched our minds to consider the vastness of the multiverse and the possibility of other realities, let us now gently bring our focus back to a fascinating, yet sometimes unsettling aspect of our own human minds: the Dunning-Kruger effect. This is a subtle, almost paradoxical phenomenon that reminds us how, quite often, those who know the least about a subject tend to feel the most confident, while those who are truly knowledgeable might quietly harbor more self-doubt. It's a curious trick our minds can play, a gentle reminder that our perception of our own abilities isn't always accurate. Imagine, if you will, a group of people asked to take a test on a subject they know very little about, perhaps advanced physics or complex brain surgery. When asked to estimate how well they performed, those who actually scored very poorly often confidently predict that they did quite well, perhaps even above average. They might feel a warm sense of satisfaction, believing they have a good grasp of the subject. Yet, the reality of their performance tells a different story. This is the heart of the Dunning-Kruger effect. Those who lack knowledge or skill in a particular area tend to greatly overestimate their own competence. Their confidence far outstrips their actual ability. Now, why does this happen? It's not about arrogance or intentional deception. It's a quiet, unconscious blind spot. The very skills needed to be good at something, such as understanding complex concepts, recognizing errors, or appreciating the nuances of a field, are often the same skills needed to accurately judge one's own performance in that area. If you don't know much about a subject, you simply don't have the tools to recognize how much you don't know. It's like trying to navigate a vast, misty landscape without a map or a compass. You might feel confident walking straight ahead, unaware of the deep ravines or towering mountains just beyond your limited sight. The less knowledge you possess, the less you are able to accurately assess the vastness of your own ignorance. This lack of insight into one's own incompetence is the subtle core of the effect. Conversely, the Dunning-Kruger effect also reveals another fascinating truth. Those who are truly skilled and knowledgeable often tend to underestimate their own abilities, quietly harboring more self-doubt. Imagine a brilliant scientist who has spent decades meticulously studying a complex field. As they gain more knowledge, they also become acutely aware of the immense complexity, the countless unsolved problems, and the vast amount that still remains unknown. They understand the nuances, the exceptions, the what-ifs. This deep understanding of complexity can make them feel that their knowledge is always incomplete, always insufficient. What seems simple to them might be incredibly difficult for others, but they assume it's easy for everyone, or that they just got lucky. So, while they are objectively excellent, they might quietly doubt their own expertise, believing they still have so much more to learn. It's as if the clearer their map of the landscape becomes, the more they realize how truly vast and intricate the entire world is, making their own mastered path seem like just a small part. This subtle bias, this gap between perceived ability and actual competence, was first described by psychologists David Dunning and Justin Kruger in a paper published in 1999. They conducted a series of studies showing that individuals performing poorly on tests of humor, grammar, and logic skills consistently overestimated their performance and abilities. The less competent they were, the more they overestimated themselves. Conversely, highly competent individuals tended to slightly underestimate their relative competence, assuming tasks that were easy for them were also easy for others. The Dunning-Kruger effect is more than just an interesting psychological curiosity. It is, in a quiet yet profound way, one of the biggest traps that can hinder human learning, growth, and development. For the overconfident, less knowledgeable person, their inflated self-assessment means they may not see any reason to learn more or to seek feedback. If you believe you already understand something well, why would you invest time and effort into improving? This creates a subtle barrier to growth, a comfortable illusion that prevents them from recognizing their need for further development. They might dismiss constructive criticism as others simply not understanding them, rather than as valuable insight. For the highly skilled, self-doubting person, Their underestimation of their own abilities can lead to a lack of confidence, a reluctance to share their knowledge, or even a hesitation to take on new challenges. If you believe you're not good enough, you might avoid opportunities where your expertise is truly needed, or shy away from leading others. This can quietly hold back brilliant minds and prevent valuable contributions to society. This effect plays out in many areas of our lives, often subtly. In our daily conversations, we might encounter someone confidently explaining a complex topic they barely understand, perhaps politics, economics, or even a new scientific discovery. On social media, this phenomenon can become amplified as individuals with limited understanding might loudly share opinions, convinced of their own infallible insights, often drowning out more nuanced or expert voices. In the professional world, it might manifest as individuals taking on tasks beyond their current capability without realizing it, or dismissing expert advice because they believe their own limited understanding is sufficient. Understanding the Dunning-Kruger effect isn't about judging others, but about cultivating a deeper self-awareness and a gentle empathy. It's an invitation to look inward with honesty and to understand how our own minds can subtly mislead us about our true abilities. For ourselves, it encourages a lifelong attitude of humility and continuous learning. It means recognizing that true wisdom often begins with acknowledging how much we still don't know. It means being open to feedback, even when it's challenging, and actively seeking opportunities to learn from those who truly possess deeper knowledge. For those who may fall into the trap of overconfidence, the gentle lesson is to pause, to listen more, and to embrace the quiet discomfort of not knowing everything. It means learning to question our own assumptions, to seek diverse perspectives, and to understand that true expertise involves a journey of profound learning, not just an initial burst of confidence. It's about moving from a state of unconscious incompetence, where you don't even know what you don't know, to conscious incompetence, where you humbly acknowledge your gaps and begin the journey of filling them. For those who may quietly suffer from imposter syndrome, feeling that their real knowledge is never quite enough, the gentle encouragement is to trust in their accumulated expertise, to recognize the depth of their journey, and to share their wisdom with others, even when a small voice of doubt whispers within. It's about understanding that the very awareness of complexity is a sign of true knowledge, and that genuine expertise often comes with a humble recognition of how much more there is to explore. Ultimately, the Dunning-Kruger effect serves as a powerful reminder of the fragility of human perception and the constant need for self-reflection. It suggests that the path to true wisdom is often paved with moments of quiet humility, of acknowledging what we don't understand, and of a lifelong commitment to genuine inquiry. It's a subtle invitation to detach from the need for superficial confidence and to instead cultivate a deep, authentic understanding, a knowledge that is robust precisely because it is aware of its own limitations. It encourages us to be curious, not just about the world, but about the very workings of our own minds, allowing us to navigate the complexities of knowledge with greater grace and wisdom. So as the night deepens and your thoughts gently drift, consider the subtle ways in which you perceive your own abilities and the knowledge of others. The Dunning-Kruger effect is not a judgment, but a gentle mirror, reflecting back the fascinating ways our minds navigate certainty and uncertainty. It's a quiet invitation to embrace lifelong learning, to cherish humility, and to find true confidence not in what we think we know, but in our endless capacity to learn and grow. Always open to the profound surprises that deeper understanding might reveal. Having just explored the subtle biases of our own minds, like the Dunning-Kruger effect, let us now gently turn our gaze to a profound yet often challenging aspect of freedom: the courage to be disliked. This concept whispers to us about a deeper, more authentic kind of liberty that lies beyond the need for approval, a freedom that truly allows us to be ourselves, even when it means facing misunderstanding or disapproval from others. Imagine, if you will, the earliest days of human existence, our primitive ancestors living in small tribes. In such a world, being accepted by the group was not just a desire, it was a matter of survival. If you were disliked, if you were cast out, you faced immense danger alone. This deep, ancient fear of exclusion is hardwired into our very being. It's a primal whisper that tells us to conform, to seek acceptance, to avoid standing out too much, for fear of being ostracized. This survival instinct, though necessary in ancient times, still subtly influences us today, often without our conscious awareness. Now fast forward to our modern world, particularly the age of social media. While physical banishment is rare, the fear of judgment, of disapproval, of being unliked or unfollowed or canceled is more pervasive than ever. We live in a constant state of visibility, where every thought, every opinion, every choice can be scrutinized and judged by a vast, invisible audience. This creates a powerful, almost irresistible pressure to present a curated version of ourselves, one that we believe will be widely accepted and admired. We scroll through feeds filled with seemingly perfect lives, and subtly, almost unconsciously, we begin to compare, to adjust, to try and fit in. The fear of being disliked, though it takes on new forms, remains a powerful force, often shaping our words, our actions, and even our deepest thoughts. And what is the price we often pay for this pervasive need for approval, for this constant desire to be liked by everyone? We often trade away our authentic selves in exchange for affection, acceptance, or praise. We might suppress our true opinions, bite our tongues when we disagree, or adopt beliefs and behaviors that don't truly resonate with our inner being, all in the quiet hope of being embraced. We become chameleons, constantly adapting our colors to blend in with our surroundings, losing sight of our own unique hue. This can lead to a quiet, lingering sense of dissatisfaction, a subtle feeling that we are not truly living our life, but rather a life crafted to please others. The fear of being disliked becomes an invisible cage, preventing us from expressing our deepest creativity, our most cherished values, or our true passions. It keeps us from taking risks, from speaking up, from embracing our unique path. This is where the profound concept of the courage to be disliked steps onto the stage. This idea, deeply explored by Japanese philosophers Ichiro Kishimi and Fumitake Koga in their widely read book, suggests that true freedom is found when we bravely choose to live authentically, to follow our own inner compass, even if it means that some people will inevitably misunderstand us, disapprove of us, or even actively dislike us. It's not about being intentionally rude or arrogant. It's about being true to your own nature, to your own values, without needing external validation as your primary guide. It's about recognizing that trying to please everyone is an impossible and ultimately self-defeating task. When we constantly seek approval, our lives are dictated by the expectations of others, not by our own inner desires. This is not freedom. It is a subtle form of bondage. The courage to be disliked is a powerful act of self-liberation. It means understanding that the opinions of others, while they might exist, do not define your worth or your path. It means gently letting go of the need for universal acceptance and instead focusing on living a life that aligns with your deepest truths. This is a profound shift from a vertical relationship, where you constantly seek validation from others who are seen as superior or judge you, to a horizontal relationship, where you see all individuals as equals, and their opinions are simply their opinions, not absolute judgments of your worth. When you achieve this shift, you are no longer a slave to external judgment. You become the master of your own inner world. This true freedom, the courage to be disliked, involves several gentle yet powerful practices. Separation of tasks. This is a core idea. It suggests that you should separate your tasks from the tasks of others. Your task is to live your life according to your values. The task of others is to decide how they feel about your life. You cannot control their feelings or their judgments, just as they cannot truly control your actions or your thoughts. When you stop trying to control how others perceive you, you gain immense freedom. You recognize that their disapproval is their problem, not yours. Living in the present moment. The fear of being disliked often traps us in the past, regretting what we did, or the future, worrying about what others might think. The courage to be disliked liberates us to live fully in the here and now, making choices that resonate with our present selves, rather than being dictated by past fears or future anxieties about approval. Contribution, not approval. Instead of seeking applause or admiration, True freedom comes from finding joy in contributing to something larger than yourself, in helping others, or in pursuing a cause that you deeply believe in. When your motivation shifts from external praise to inner fulfillment, the opinions of others lose their power over you. You act because it is right, because it is meaningful, not because you seek a reward of acceptance. Of course, this courage doesn't mean being rude, dismissive, or antisocial. It's not about intentionally trying to upset people. It's about being authentic and vulnerable, without apology. It's about speaking your truth with kindness, acting with integrity, and pursuing your dreams, even if those dreams don't fit neatly into society's expectations. It's about understanding that trying to please everyone means you end up pleasing no one, least of all yourself. True freedom recognizes that true connection comes from being genuinely seen for who you are, not for who you pretend to be. If some people dislike the authentic you, then perhaps they were not meant for your journey. And that is perfectly okay. The journey towards this kind of true freedom, the courage to be disliked, is a lifelong one. It requires constant self-reflection, a willingness to challenge our own deep-seated fears of rejection, and a gentle but firm commitment to our authentic selves. It's about building that inner fortress, that sanctuary of mind and spirit that no external judgment can truly penetrate. It's about learning to trust our inner voice, our own compass, more than the clamoring opinions of the crowd. So who are you in this vast universe? You are a being capable of profound authenticity, capable of shedding the invisible chains of seeking approval. You are called to bravely live true to your deepest nature, to embrace your unique path, even when it means being misunderstood or disliked by some. This profound act of self-liberation allows you to experience a deeper, richer kind of freedom, one that flows from within, unshaken by the shifting winds of external judgment. It is the quiet, beautiful strength of truly being yourself. As our journey through freedom draws towards its gentle close, having explored its outer and inner dimensions, let us now turn to a unique, often bittersweet emotion that is deeply intertwined with our experience of time and our sense of self, nostalgia. This is that warm, sometimes aching feeling we get when we remember the past, an emotion beautifully stained by the passage of time. It's a quiet whisper from a bygone era, pulling us back to moments that are forever gone, yet forever alive in our hearts. Imagine, if you will, sitting quietly by a window as the rain gently falls outside. Your mind begins to drift, and suddenly, a scent, a melody, or a distant memory surfaces. Perhaps it's the smell of freshly baked cookies that takes you back to your grandmother's kitchen, filled with warmth and laughter. Or a song on the radio that transports you to a carefree summer day from your youth, a time of innocent joy and endless possibilities. This is nostalgia, a longing for the past, a sentimental yearning for happiness felt in a former place, time, or set of circumstances. It's a complex emotion, not just simple happiness or sadness, but a rich blend of warmth, wistfulness, and sometimes a gentle ache for what cannot be reclaimed. The word nostalgia itself comes from two Greek words, nostos, meaning return home, and algos, meaning pain or ache. So literally, it means the pain of returning home, or a homecoming ache. This captures its bittersweet essence perfectly. When we remember the past, we simultaneously feel the warmth of those cherished moments, the comfort, the joy, the simplicity, and the gentle pain that those moments are forever gone, unreachable. We cannot truly return to them, only revisit them in the landscape of our minds. This duality is what gives nostalgia its unique color, a spectrum blending the bright hues of joy with the softer tones of longing. Why do we experience nostalgia? From a psychological perspective, it serves several quiet but powerful purposes. First, nostalgia helps us connect with our enduring self across time, from the past to the present. When we recall cherished memories, we are reminded of who we were, what we experienced, and how far we've come. It helps us construct a continuous narrative of our lives, weaving together different chapters into a coherent story. Even if our current selves are very different from our past selves, nostalgia reminds us of that unbroken thread, helping us maintain a stable sense of identity amidst constant change. It reassures us that the person we were, the experiences we had, are still a part of who we are now, providing a comforting anchor in the ever-flowing river of time. Second, Nostalgia can be a powerful source of comfort and security. In moments of stress, loneliness, or uncertainty, remembering positive past experiences can act as a psychological refuge. It brings a feeling of warmth, of being loved, of having overcome challenges before. It reminds us of moments when we felt safe, capable, or deeply connected. This emotional warmth can boost our mood, reduce feelings of anxiety, and help us cope with present difficulties. It's like wrapping ourselves in a familiar, cozy blanket woven from cherished memories. Third, nostalgia can actually inspire us and motivate us for the future. When we recall past achievements or moments of strong connection, it can give us a sense of competence and social support, encouraging us to face new challenges. It reminds us of our resilience, our capacity for joy, and the good things that are possible. It's not just dwelling on the past, but drawing strength and inspiration from it, carrying the lessons and the warmth forward into the unfolding future. It helps us dream new dreams, fueled by the echoes of past happiness. However, like any powerful emotion, nostalgia also holds its own gentle challenges. The most significant one is that if we become too entangled, too deeply enmeshed in the past, we risk losing the richness of the present and the potential of the future. When nostalgia becomes a constant dwelling, a longing for a golden age that never quite existed or can never be returned to, it can prevent us from fully engaging with the reality of our current moment. We might miss the subtle joys of the present, overlook new opportunities for growth, or neglect the relationships that are right here, right now. It's like staring at a beautiful old photograph so intently that you miss the vibrant living world unfolding outside your window. When nostalgia becomes an escape rather than a brief reflective pause, it can lead to a quiet melancholy, a persistent feeling of dissatisfaction with the present. We might idealize the past, remembering only the good parts and conveniently forgetting the difficulties or imperfections. This creates an unrealistic comparison that makes the present seem dull or inadequate. This form of maladaptive nostalgia can hinder our ability to adapt to change, to embrace new experiences, and to actively shape our future. It can become a comfortable prison, keeping us from moving forward. Therefore, the gentle art of experiencing nostalgia lies in balance. It's about allowing those warm, bittersweet memories to surface, to enjoy their comfort and draw inspiration from them, but then to gently return to the present moment, fully engaged and ready to embrace what is unfolding now. It's about treating the past as a beloved album to occasionally flip through, rather than a room where we permanently reside. We can honor our past, learn from it, and cherish its warmth. But our life is lived here, now, in the vibrant, ever-changing present. In our increasingly fast-paced digital world, where memories are often archived and instantly accessible, nostalgia can feel more pervasive than ever. We are constantly reminded of past events through photos, videos, and social media posts. This makes the ability to navigate nostalgia mindfully even more crucial. It's an invitation to pause, to breathe, to truly feel the emotions that arise, but then to gently bring our awareness back to the sensations, sounds, and opportunities of our current experience. So, who are you in this vast universe? You are a being capable of experiencing the profound, bittersweet beauty of nostalgia. You are able to connect with your enduring self across the currents of time, drawing comfort and inspiration from your past. But you are also capable of recognizing the delicate balance of not letting the past hold you captive and of choosing to live fully, mindfully, and joyfully in the vibrant present, always open to the new experiences that await you. Your capacity for nostalgia is a testament to the richness of your personal journey, a deeply human way of embracing the beautiful color that time paints upon our memories. And so, my dear fellow traveler, our quiet journey through the vast landscape of thought gently draws to its close. We've ventured from the startling unpredictability of the black swan to the bittersweet embrace of nostalgia, from the profound certainty of I think, therefore I am, to the humbling limits of knowledge, and from the subtle biases of our minds to the courage of true authenticity. What have we learned? Perhaps this: philosophy is not something distant from our daily lives. Instead, it is a quiet, powerful mirror, gently reflecting life itself back to us. It shows us the intricate workings of our minds, the surprising turns of reality, and the endless questions that make us uniquely human. Perhaps we will never uncover the final answers to every single question. The universe and our place within it may always hold its deepest secrets. But perhaps the very journey of seeking those answers, the act of wondering, of questioning, of exploring, even of doubting, that, my friend, is what truly makes life so beautiful. It is the quest itself, the continuous unfolding of curiosity, that adds richness and depth to our human experience. Because sometimes all we truly know is that we know nothing at all. Are you ready to embrace doubt, to ask the big questions, and to gently uncover the depths of yourself? Sleep well, my friend, on your journey of wisdom.